In this video, I'm just going to look at one of the ways to work with the bone tool in Flash. So the bone tool is new to CS4 and obviously it's in CS5 as well, and there are a number of different ways it can be used. We're going to look at one of the very simple ways that you might look at using it in year 11. So as always, we're going to open up by creating a Flash file, ActionScript 3.0, and for this task I'm just going to create a stick figure human character that we're going to use our bone tool with. So I'm going to select the oval tool for the head and just quickly select the line tool to fill out the rest of the body. I am going to make sure though that for the body that each section is going to have a bit of identifiable characters. So we'll do 2 sections for the arms and 2 sections for the legs. Now the bone tool, you can either press X as your keyboard shortcut and you'll see that little bone appear on the screen. Otherwise you can go over to your toolbar and it is found just in the middle section, and luckily for us it looks just like a bone. So I'm going to select my bone tool. Now the bone tool uses inverse kinematics, and pretty much what that is that it's setting anchor points on an object that we draw, which allows the computer to run mathematical equations in the background to figure out how each item would react to one another. So if you don't quite understand what that means, we're about to see it in action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a central point that I want all my connections to come back to. So my central point is going to be the middle of the torso of my character. So I'm going to take my cursor and I'm going to click right in the middle there, and I'm going to click and drag to the neck of my character. I'm going to continue this now for all of the points of my character's body. So from the elbow to the end of the arm and so on. And do the same part for the legs. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to select my selection tool again by pressing V, and you may have noticed down in the layers section of our timeline that when I did my very first bone tool click, Flash automatically creates a new layer, and it's called an armature layer. And this is the layer that actually controls all of the bone tool. I could delete this entire layer 1 as it's no longer needed. I'm now working with my armature layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if all my connections work. So to do that, I just have my selection tool, and if I move to any of the side points of where the bone tool was used, you'll notice that the cursor changes into a bone. So if I do that in any of his arms or any of his legs, the cursor turns into a bone. All I'm going to do is wait till it does that, click, and then move my cursor. And you can see the way the arm is reacting. So the elbow joint moves and the arm moves in relation to the body. So that's what the bone tool allows us to do. It's great for creating human movement and taking away the need for frame by frame animation, which whilst it can look good, can be extremely time consuming. So you can go all the way around your character and check to see how the limbs will react to one another. So I know already that my connections have worked. The other thing we're going to quickly look at is if I select any of these little circular points that you can see on my boned character, you'll notice in the properties panel we can do things. We can constrain the joints, we can enable joints, and so on. So if I constrain these joints, all that means is it's restricting the actual amount of movement that I would get when I click and drag. So if you find that your character's moving too much or it's too quick, you can go through and constrain those joints. The last thing we're going to look at is actually looking at how do we get some sort of motion tweening effect with our bone tool. So to do that, we do very similar actions to what we would do for a motion tween. We just need to go to our armature layer, select how many frames we want it to move. So I'm going to say 15 frames. I'm going to right click in there and I'm going to go to insert pose. So once I select that, I'll get a dark green looking timeline there. Now at frame 15, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to take my character's hand and I'm going to move it up just underneath his chin there. I'm now going to go to frame 30 and do the exact same thing. Insert pose, And this time I'm going to select the hand and I'm going to move it all the way back down. And when I move my scrub head, you will see the very awesome looking waving action that my character is completing. So if I hit Control Enter, you'll see the wave. Now the blue is going in and out because I haven't extended my bottom layer or deleted it. Don't worry about that. Just so long as you get that movement on your character. So you could do the same for the other arm. You could move his legs to make it look like he's walking. So you can do all sorts of very quick and easy natural movements. So that's one of the very simple ways of using the bone tool on a character that you may draw up.